When I got engaged, I didn't expect fireworks. I didn't need a parade or a diamond inspection committee. I just wanted one normal moment where my parents looked at me like I mattered, that I'd been with Ethan for 4 years. The kind of 4 years that doesn't look flashy online but feels solid in real life. We built routines. We survived layoffs, a flooded apartment, a family loss on his side, and a scary health week on mine. We learned how to argue without trying to win. We learned how to apologize without keeping score. He wasn't perfect, but he was consistent. And after growing up in a home where love depended on my performance, consistency felt like a miracle, so when he proposed, it wasn't dramatic. It was intimate. Saturday morning, rain tapping the windows, coffee brewing. I had my hair in a messy bun and an old sweatshirt with paint stains. Ethan walked into the living room holding 2 mugs like he was about to hand me the most normal moment of my life, and then he knelt down. He didn't say a speech. He didn't do a cliché line. He just looked up at me with this quiet seriousness and said, "I want to be your family. I want to choose you every day. Will you marry me?" My chest cracked open. I said yes so fast I choked. I laughed and cried at the same time, and he slid the ring on my finger with hands that were actually shaking. We sat on the couch for a long time just staring at it, like we couldn't believe something so good had landed in our hands. I texted my sister first, because she's always been the quickest one to respond. "I'm engaged." She replied instantly with a million emojis and a voice note that was half screaming, half crying. For 10 minutes, I let myself believe this was going to be a soft chapter. Then I called my mom. She answered on the 3rd ring with a distracted hello, like I was an interruption. "Mom," I said, trying to sound calm even though my voice was shaking with happiness. "Ethan proposed. I'm engaged." There was a pause on the line. A weird, empty pause. Then she said flatly, "Oh." My smile froze. "Oh, what?" I asked, still trying to give her a chance to catch up emotionally. "Well," she said like she was thinking out loud, "I guess that's something." Something. My throat tightened. "Yeah," I said, forcing a laugh. "It's a big deal. We're really happy." "Okay," she said, still flat. "Then, is it a big ring?" Of course. The first question wasn't about Ethan. It wasn't about us. It was about what she could measure, compare, judge. It wasn't even huge. It was a simple solitaire, classic, beautiful. Ethan and I had budgeted carefully. I said, "It's perfect. It's exactly what I wanted." Mom hummed. And then she said, "Well, don't start planning anything until you talk to your father. You know he'll have opinions." "Can I just hear congratulations?" I asked quietly. She sighed like I was being needy. "Congratulations," she said, clipped, like she was checking a box. "Now listen, I'm in the middle of something. I have to go." And then she hung up. I stared at my phone like it had betrayed me. Ethan looked at me from across the couch, his smile fading. "What did she say?" he asked gently. I swallowed hard. "She asked if it was a big ring," I said, trying to joke. But my voice cracked on the last word. Ethan's face tightened. He reached for my hand and kissed my knuckles. "I'm sorry," he whispered. I told myself not to care. I told myself I was an adult. I told myself my parents have always been like this, emotionally absent unless there's a way to make it about them. But later that night I called my dad anyway. Because there's a strange kind of hope that never fully dies, even when it should. He answered with a gruff, "Yeah?" "Dad," I said, "I'm engaged." Ethan proposed. There was a beat. Then he said, "To who?" I blinked. "To me," I said slowly. "Ethan. My boyfriend. The one you've met several times." Dad chuckled like I'd told a funny story. "Oh, right. Him." Then, like he was changing topics, he said, "So what are you doing about the wedding? Don't do anything expensive. You know your mother gets ideas." I waited, stomach sinking. "No congratulations. No warmth. Just logistics and control, Dad," I said carefully. "I'm not asking you to plan." I just wanted you to be happy for me. He scoffed. Happy? You're grown. This is what grown people do. Get married, buy houses, have kids. You want a medal? A hot sting filled my eyes. Ethan watched me quietly, jaw clenched. Okay, I whispered. Anyway, Dad continued, tell your mother to keep it simple. And don't invite 1,000 people. I'm not sitting in some cramped chair for 5 hours. I didn't even get to finish telling him where Ethan proposed. The call ended with him saying, all right, I'm watching the game. The next day, I posted a photo of my hand on social media. Not a flashy announcement. Just my ring, Ethan's hand holding mine, and the caption, we're getting married. Comments flooded in. Friends. Co-workers. People I hadn't talked to since college. Everyone saying congratulations, telling us how happy they were, asking about dates, venues, dress styles. My parents didn't comment. Not my mom. Not my dad, not even a my sister texted me. Mom's acting weird about it? Don't take it personally. The thing is, I'd spent my whole life not taking them personally. I'd spent my whole life shrinking my joy so it wouldn't trigger their resentment. But this was my engagement. This was supposed to be my moment, and they treated it like background noise. For weeks, I heard nothing. No questions about Ethan's family. No excitement. No, let us see the ring. No, we're so happy for you. The only time my mom mentioned it was to ask, so, are you going to lose a little weight before the wedding? You know cameras are unforgiving. That's when I stopped trying to pull celebration out of people who only knew how to critique. Ethan and I planned our wedding ourselves. We toured venues. We tasted cakes. We did the guest list. We fought over tiny details like fonts and flowers, but in a normal way, the way couples do when they care about building something together. We decided on a small but elegant wedding, about 120 people. A garden ceremony, indoor reception. Warm, intimate, not a spectacle. We paid for it ourselves. Not because we were wealthy, but because I refused to give my parents the chance to buy control. We saved for 2 years. We cut vacations. We cooked at home. We lived with a used couch and mismatched dishes because we were building something bigger. Then, 6 months before the wedding, my mom called me out of nowhere. Her voice was sweet. Too sweet. Honey, she said, we need to talk about seating. I frowned. Seating? Like at the reception? Yes, she said, as if this was the most urgent topic in the world. Your father and I need VIP seating. I blinked. VIP? I repeated. Front row, she said briskly. At the ceremony. And at the reception, we need a table near you. Not shoved in the back like random guests. My stomach dropped. The audacity was so clean it almost made me laugh. Mom, I said slowly, you haven't asked me one question about the wedding in months. She sighed. That's not the point. What is the point? I asked. The point, she said, is that people will be watching. This is your wedding, but it reflects on us too. And there it was. The real engagement announcement, finally. Not that I was getting married. That they were being observed. I held the phone away from my ear for a second like maybe I'd misheard her. VIP seating. Like my wedding was a concert and they were demanding backstage passes. Mom, I said carefully, there isn't VIP. It's a ceremony. Everyone sits. She made a small impatient sound. Don't play dumb, she snapped. Parents of the bride sit in the front. That's how it works. Sure, I said slowly. The immediate family sits toward the front. That's normal. Not toward, she corrected. Front row. Center. And at the reception, the table nearest you. Your father wants to be seen. That last phrase landed like a brick. He wants to be seen. Not he wants to support you. Not he's excited. Seen. My stomach tightened. Mom, I said, you didn't even congratulate me. You didn't like the engagement post. You barely acknowledged it. Her tone turned icy. Are you keeping score? No, I said. I'm noticing patterns. She scoffed. You always do this. You always try to punish us. Punish. That word again. In my family, any boundary was punishment. Any memory was an attack. I'm not punishing you, I said calmly. I'm planning a wedding. Seating is based on relationships, not optics. There was a beat of silence. Then her voice sharpened. Optics? She repeated, offended. Don't use therapy words on me. Then don't treat my wedding like a PR event, I replied before I could soften it. Her breath hitched. Excuse me. Mom, I said slower, you haven't shown up emotionally, but you're demanding the best seats like you've been cheering the whole time. She snapped. We are your parents. Yes, I said. By title, not by behavior. The line went dead quiet. I could almost picture her face, tight mouth, narrowed eyes, offended that I'd said out loud what everyone else was trained to pretend. Then she exploded. How dare you talk to me like that, she hissed. After everything we've done for you. Like what? I asked quietly. Name it. She sputtered. We raised you. We fed you. You did the minimum legal requirements, I said, voice steady. I'm talking about showing up, caring, being happy for me. Her voice went cold. Your father is heartbroken, she said. He says you've always been selfish. I laughed once, short and bitter. Heartbroken? I repeated. He didn't even say congratulations. He doesn't do emotions, she snapped. You know that. But he does VIP seating, I said. He does public pride. Silence. Then she tried a softer tactic, syrupy and guilt-laced. Honey, it's not a big ask, she cooed. It's just respectful. People will notice where we sit. They'll talk. There it was again, other people. The invisible audience my mother lived for. Let them talk, I said. She sighed dramatically. You don't understand, she said like I was a child. This is humiliating for us. No, I replied. What's humiliating is parents who ignore their daughter's engagement but demand front-row status when the cameras come out. Her voice snapped back. So, you're going to embarrass us on purpose? I took a slow breath. I'm going to seat you like guests, I said calmly. Because that's how you've acted. The silence that followed was sharp enough to cut. Then she whispered, deadly, If you do that, don't expect us to pay for anything. I almost smiled. We're paying for our wedding, I said. Remember? You weren't involved. She paused. That threat had failed. She switched weapons. Fine, she said. Then don't expect your father to walk you down the aisle. My heart thudded. Not because I was scared, because I realized she thought that would destroy me. She thought I needed his approval so badly that she could hold tradition hostage. I swallowed. Okay, I said quietly. Then he won't. Her tone turned triumphant. Good, she snapped. Because if you're going to disrespect us, you don't get the honor. I held the phone tight, steadying my breath. Mom, I said, you're telling me my father won't walk me down the aisle because he can't sit in the center. She hesitated. Then she said the truth without meaning to. Because he won't be treated like an afterthought. I felt something settle in my chest. Clarity like a door closing. He treated my engagement like an afterthought, I said softly. So I guess we're even. She gasped, offended. You are unbelievable. Maybe, I said calmly. But I'm done begging. She hissed, you're going to regret this. No, I replied. I'm going to remember it. I ended the call before she could keep twisting. My hands were shaking, but my mind was clear. Ethan looked up from the kitchen where he'd been pretending not to listen. What happened? He asked gently. I stared at him, ring on my finger catching the light. They want VIP seats, I said. They didn't care about our engagement, but they care a lot about being seen at the wedding. Finn's jaw tightened. That's gross, he said quietly. I nodded. It's them, I whispered. We sat on the couch, and for the first time we said the thing out loud that I'd been avoiding for months. Maybe, Ethan said carefully, your parents shouldn't be close to you at the wedding. The words felt both terrifying and relieving, because it wasn't about revenge. It was about safety. Emotional safety. I don't want drama, I whispered. Ethan took my hand. Then we plan for it, he said. We set boundaries now so they can't hijack your day later. And that's when we made a decision that felt radical in my family. We decided the wedding would be for us. Not for their image. Not for their pride. Not for their VIP fantasy. For us. That night, I opened our seating chart and stared at the little boxes that represented people. My parents' names hovered in my mind like a threat. Then I dragged them, calmly, deliberately, to a table on the side. Not in the back. Not shoved away. Just not central. Not powerful. A normal seat. A normal place. And the moment I did it, my stomach flipped, because I knew what was coming next. In my family, when you remove someone's status, they don't ask why. They retaliate. The retaliation didn't take long. Never does when you take status away from people who live on it. The next morning, my phone buzzed before I even finished brushing my teeth. Dad. I let it ring once, twice, then answered on the third because I wanted to hear his tone. Yeah, he barked, like I was the one disturbing his peace. Hi, Dad, I said calmly. I heard you and your mother had a conversation, he said, voice thick with contempt. About how you're treating us. I almost laughed. He hadn't called to say congratulations when I got engaged, but he called within 12 hours when he thought his seat was threatened. We did talk, I said. About seating. Seating, he repeated like the word offended him. You're really going to put us off to the side like strangers? Kept my voice level. You'll be seated with family, I said. Just not front and center. Front and center is where parents sit, he snapped. That's tradition. Tradition assumes parents act like parents, I replied quietly. Silence. Then his voice rose. So now you're punishing us, he said. Because we didn't jump up and down over your engagement? Because you ignored it, I corrected. And now you want to be showcased. He exhaled through his nose. You're ungrateful, he spat. Everything is always a problem with you. I leaned against the counter and stared at the wall, grounding myself. Dad, I said, this isn't a problem. It's a boundary. You didn't show up emotionally, so you don't get prime placement like you did. He scoffed. Emotionally, he mocked. Listen to you. Always with your feelings. Then he said something that made my blood run cold. Your mother says you already sent out invites, he said. To who? To people who actually show up, I replied, voice steady. He ignored that. Your Uncle Frank called me, he said, and he said he's not sure where he's sitting. He heard you're doing some weird seating. My stomach tightened. Why is Uncle Frank calling you about my seating chart? I asked. Dad's voice turned smug. Because we're family, he said. People talk to us. I realized what was happening. They were already working the crowd. Already planting the idea that I was unstable, disrespectful, out of control. They were laying groundwork to pressure me publicly. Dad, I said slowly, are you calling relatives about my wedding seating? He didn't deny it. I'm making sure you don't embarrass this family, he snapped. There it was. Not making sure you're okay. Not making sure your wedding is beautiful. Making sure the family image stayed intact. I'm not embarrassing anyone, I said quietly. You are. By turning my wedding into a campaign. His voice rose. Campaign, he repeated, incredulous. Don't talk to me like I'm some politician. Then stop acting like you're running for office, I replied. Silence. Then he slammed the next weapon onto the table. If you insist on disrespecting us, he said, then we're not coming. My chest tightened for half a second, the old fear reflex, then it settled. Okay, I said softly. If that's what you choose. He paused, thrown off. He expected me to panic. Beg. Apologize. Instead he heard calm. What do you mean, okay? He snapped. I mean I'm not rearranging my wedding to satisfy your ego, I said. If you don't want to attend, that's your decision. His breathing sounded angry. You're going to regret this, he said. You think Ethan's family is going to respect you when they see you treat your parents like dirt? I felt heat rise in my chest. I'm not treating you like dirt, I said. I'm treating you like guests because you've acted like guests. He scoffed. You're delusional, he muttered. Then he delivered the line he thought would end me. Fine, he said. We won't come. And when people ask why, we'll tell them the truth. What truth? I asked calmly. That you're hateful, he snapped. That you're ashamed of us. That you're trying to punish us because we didn't pay for your wedding. I almost laughed again, bitter. You didn't offer to pay, I said. You didn't even ask about the wedding until you wanted VIP seating. He cut in. Enough, he barked. You have until Friday to fix this. Or we're out. Fix this. As if my wedding was a broken appliance. Dad, I said quietly, you don't get deadlines on my boundaries. He hung up. I stood there staring at the wall, heart pounding, not because I doubted myself, but because I could feel the wave coming. The family wave. Group texts. Phone calls. Pressure disguised as concern. And it came right on schedule. Within an hour, my aunt called. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail that was pure performance. Sweetheart, I'm so worried about you. You're making choices that will haunt you. 2 minutes later, my cousin texted. Cousin, is it true you're not letting your parents sit with you? Everyone's confused. My stomach flipped. Everyone's confused. Translation, your parents are telling everyone. Then came a message from Mom, dripping sweetness. Mom, honey, your father is devastated. He's been telling everyone how proud he is of you. Why are you doing this? Proud. Now. Conveniently proud. I stared at her text, then at my engagement ring. The ring Ethan gave me, quiet, steady love. No performance. I realized something. They didn't ignore my engagement because they didn't care. They ignored it because it didn't offer them anything. But the wedding? The wedding was a stage. Photos. People. Applause. Titles. Mother of the bride. Father of the bride. VIP. Suddenly they cared. And now they were trying to punish me for refusing to hand them the microphone. Ethan walked into the kitchen, took one look at my face, and said, They're escalating. I nodded slowly. Yes, I said. And they're going to keep escalating until I give them what they want. Ethan's eyes were steady. Then we make sure they can't, he said. That afternoon, we called our venue coordinator. We called our planner. We called our DJ. We created a security plan. Not bouncers, not drama. Just clear rules. Who is allowed to make speeches, who is allowed near the mic, and who is not allowed to change seating or approach vendors. We assigned 2 friends as buffer people to intercept anyone trying to cause a scene. Then I did one more thing. I wrote a single message to my parents, short, calm, non-negotiable. The message that would either reset the dynamic or expose them completely. I hovered over send, heart steady, and realized this was the real engagement announcement. Not the ring. Not the post. The moment I chose my own peace over their pride. I wrote the message the way you write a boundary when you're done begging. Short. Clear. No emotion they could twist. I read it twice, then hit send. Me, you're invited to my wedding as my parents. You'll be seated with immediate family. There will be no VIP demands, no calls to relatives about seating, and no public pressure. If you continue, you will be uninvited. I stared at the screen after it delivered. My heart didn't race the way it used to. Felt steady. Like my body recognized this as protection, not rebellion. The response came in less than a minute. Mom, uninvited? Are you threatening us? Dad, you don't speak to us like that. Mom, after everything we've done, you'd disgrace us? I didn't reply right away. I waited. I wanted to see their first instinct. It wasn't we're sorry. It wasn't we didn't realize. It was outrage that I'd removed their power. Then Laura texted me privately. Laura, Mom is spiraling. She's saying you're going to ruin the family forever. I stared at Laura's message and felt that old urge to soothe, to fix, to absorb their emotions so nobody else had to. I breathed through it. Me, I'm not ruining the family. I'm refusing to be controlled. A few minutes later, my aunt called. I ignored it. She left a voicemail with the same tone she used when she wanted to sound loving while being cruel. Sweetheart, this isn't you. You're being influenced. You're making your poor mother sick. Poor mother sick. Always the victim. Always the fragile one. Never me. Then came the next escalation. My mother posted again. Not about meat this time. About weddings. About honor. A photo of a mother-daughter dance from somewhere captioned, "Imagine raising a child for 30 years and being told you're not VIP at her wedding." The comments were immediate. That's heartbreaking. Kids don't respect parents anymore. I'd never do that to my mom. My stomach tightened, but my mind stayed clear. She was trying to recruit the public to shame me into compliance. She wanted an audience more than a conversation. Finn watched me read it. Don't engage, he said quietly. That's what she wants. I nodded. I didn't comment. I didn't message her. I took a screenshot, saved it, and sent it to our planner. Not to be petty. To be prepared. Then I did something that felt almost surreal. I called my father. Not to argue. To offer him one final off-ramp. He answered immediately, like he'd been waiting for his moment to assert control. What? He snapped. Dad, I said calmly. Are you willing to come to my wedding as my father, or only if you get center stage? He scoffed. Center stage, he repeated. You're unbelievable. Answer the question, I said. There was a long pause. I could hear the TV in the background. The same TV he'd chosen over my engagement call. Finally, he said, You're making this into a power game. I almost laughed. You made it a power game when you called relatives about seating, I replied. I'm just not playing. His voice rose. I'm your father. I deserve respect. Respect is not a seat, I said. It's behavior. He made a harsh sound. Your mother is crying, he snapped, as if tears were a legal argument. She's crying because she's not in control, I replied quietly. Silence. Then he said the line that proved everything. People will think we don't matter, he hissed. I closed my eyes. So, this is about people, I whispered. Not about me. He didn't deny it. He said, This is about family reputation. Reputation. There it was. The true altar they worshipped. Dad, I said calm, my wedding is not a reputation event. He snapped. Then don't expect us to come. I opened my eyes. My voice stayed steady. Okay, I said. He paused. He expected panic. He got calm. Okay, he repeated. Yes, I said. If you can't show up without demanding power, I'd rather you not come. His breathing went tight. You'll regret it, he hissed. I'll regret begging, I replied. I won't regret protecting my wedding day. Then I ended the call. My hands were steady when I set the phone down. Ethan looked at me with something like pride and sadness mixed together. You did it, he said softly. You chose us. I nodded. I chose peace, I whispered. But the story didn't end there. 'Cause when people like my parents don't get the spotlight, they don't just leave quietly. They try to take something from you on the way out. 2 days later, I got an email from the venue. Hi, this is the events desk. We received a call requesting changes to the seating chart and table placements. Please confirm if these changes are authorized. My stomach dropped. Ethan's jaw clenched. They called the venue, he said. I stared at the screen, feeling that familiar mix of rage and clarity. They weren't just demanding VIP. They were trying to override me. To prove that my wedding wasn't mine. That my boundaries were optional. That my no meant nothing if they could go around me. I forwarded the email to our planner and replied to the venue immediately. No changes are authorized unless they come directly from me or Ethan. Then I turned to Ethan and said, That's it. He nodded. That's it, he repeated. And that night I wrote the second message. The one that wasn't a warning. The one that was a consequence. The one that would make it impossible for them to hijack my day. My thumb hovered over send. And I didn't feel guilt. I felt relief. I didn't write the uninvite like a dramatic speech. I wrote it like a lock. Simple. Non-negotiable. Something a vendor could understand at a glance. Something a manipulator couldn't twist into a debate. I typed it, read it once, and hit send before my nervous system could start bargaining. Me, you attempted to change my wedding plans without permission. You are no longer invited. Do not contact vendors. Do not show up. If you do, security will remove you. I stared at the screen after it delivered, waiting for the guilt to hit. It didn't. What hit was a quiet sadness, like watching a door close on a room that was never safe anyway. The response came fast. Mom, you can't do this. Dad, this is disrespect. Mom, you're our daughter. Dad, you think you can kick us out like strangers? I didn't answer. I sent one more message, shorter than anything I'd ever sent them. Me, this is final. Then I blocked my mother's number. Not to punish her. To stop the emotional noise. I left my dad unblocked for one reason. I wanted to see if he would choose accountability or escalation. He chose escalation. 2 hours later, my cousin texted me. Cousin, why are your parents telling everyone you banned them from your wedding? Are you okay? My stomach dropped, but I wasn't surprised. They didn't accept consequences privately, so they turned it into a public story where they were victims. I replied calmly. Me, they contacted my venue and tried to change my seating. That's why. Then I stopped. No paragraphs. No defending. 'Cause defending is oxygen to people who want to fire. That evening, Laura called from her phone and I almost didn't answer. But I did because Laura wasn't the enemy. She was the messenger trapped between two storms. Hey, she whispered. Her voice sounded small. Mom's losing it. I kept my voice calm. I know, I said. What is she doing? Laura hesitated. She's calling everyone, she admitted. Aunt, cousins, even Grandma's old church friends. She's telling people you're unstable, that Ethan is controlling you, that you're having some kind of breakdown. My chest tightened, heat rising. Not because it was clever, but because it was so cruel and familiar. When my mother couldn't control my behavior, she tried to control the story about my mind. Of course she is, I said quietly. Laura swallowed. Dad is saying you're ungrateful, she whispered. He's saying he paid for so much in your life and now you're humiliating him. I almost laughed. He didn't pay for my wedding, I said. He didn't even celebrate my engagement. Laura's voice cracked. I know, she whispered. I know. I'm just telling you what they're saying. I took a breath. Thank you, I said softly. I'm not going to fight them in the family group chat. Laura exhaled shakily. They want you too, she admitted. Mom keeps saying, if she's not guilty, she'll respond. There it was. The trap. Silence equals guilt. Engagement equals chaos. I looked at Ethan across the room. He was sitting on the floor by the coffee table, reading through vendor emails like he was preparing for battle with spreadsheets instead of fists. He looked up and met my eyes, steady. I spoke into the phone, calm and clear. Laura, I said, I'm not responding publicly. I'm sending one message to the people who matter, then I'm done. What message? She asked, voice anxious. A factual one, I replied. No emotion. No insults. Just what happened. After I hung up, I opened my notes and drafted a single statement. Not a call-out. Not a rant. A clean timeline. Hi, everyone. I'm hearing rumors. Here are the facts. My parents ignored my engagement, demanded VIP seating, called relatives to pressure me, and contacted my venue to change plans without permission. For that reason, they are no longer invited. I won't discuss it further. I'm focused on my marriage. I sent it to a small circle, my closest relatives who actually mattered, the ones who might show up and be confused. Then I stopped. No posts. No comments. No arguing with people who wanted drama as entertainment. The next day, the retaliation shifted from story to sabotage. Our florist emailed, Hi! We received a call asking to downgrade the package and remove the arch. Please confirm. My hands went cold. Finn's jaw clenched. They're calling vendors, he said. I forwarded it to our planner. No changes authorized, she replied instantly and added a note. We can password protect all vendors. We did. Every vendor got a password. Venue. DJ. Photographer. Florist. Cake. Everything. Then the photographer sent another message. Someone claiming to be your mother requested family portraits be prioritized and asked about a private VIP session. I stared at the email until my vision sharpened. Even uninvited, my mother still tried to take control. She wasn't just demanding a seat. She was demanding ownership of the day. That night, Dad texted from his number. Dad, you're making your mother sick. Everyone knows you're wrong. If you don't fix this, don't call us ever again. I stared at his message and something in me went quiet. Not angry. Finished. Finn sat beside me on the couch. What do you want to do? He asked gently. I swallowed. I want to stop living like their emotions are my responsibility, I whispered. Finn nodded. Then stop, he said. I typed one final reply to Dad. One sentence that would define everything going forward. Me, if you choose to cut me off because you couldn't control my wedding, that's your decision. Then I blocked his number too. I didn't do it as revenge. I did it as protection, the way you close the gate when someone keeps trying to break into your house. For the first time since the engagement, I felt my shoulders drop. The noise stopped. Constant buzzing stopped. The dread stopped. And for about 12 hours, I believed the worst was over. Then, 2 days later, my planner called me. Her voice sounded careful. I need to tell you something, she said. We received a tip that your parents might try to show up anyway. My stomach flipped. Finn sat up straight. Show up? I repeated. Yes, she said. They told someone they're still the parents of the bride and nobody can stop them. I stared at the wall, heart steady but heavy. 'Cause I knew my parents. They didn't just want VIP seats. They wanted a public moment where they could force me to comply in front of everyone. They wanted to corner me on my wedding day, knowing I wouldn't cause a scene. Ethan reached for my hand. "We're not letting them hijack it," he said. I squeezed his fingers. "No," I whispered. "We're not." That's when we made the plan that would protect us, not just from them showing up, but from the old me that would have folded under pressure. Because the hardest part wasn't security. The hardest part was accepting that if they came, I wouldn't sacrifice my day to save their image. And once I accepted that, I felt something powerful. I wasn't afraid of their arrival anymore. I was prepared for it. Wedding morning felt surreal. Not because I was nervous about marrying Ethan, I wasn't. I knew who he was. I knew what we were building. The surreal part was realizing I could be the bride and still have to defend my peace like a bodyguard. I woke up early, sunlight sliding through the curtains, and for a few seconds I forgot about my parents completely. Then my phone buzzed with a message from my planner. "All vendors are password." Security briefed. "You are protected." Protected. The word made my throat tighten. Not in fear, in relief. Because I'd spent my whole life unprotected inside my own family. Ethan kissed my forehead in the hotel room and said, "Today is ours." I nodded. "Today is ours," I repeated like a vow. At the venue, everything looked exactly how we'd imagined. The garden arch. The soft chairs lined up in rows. White flowers, warm sunlight, the quiet hum of staff setting up details. I should have been floating. Instead, I kept scanning the driveway in the back of my mind like a soldier. My bridesmaids tried to keep me distracted. Music, mimosas, jokes about dancing, but every time a car door slammed outside, my stomach tightened. Then my planner stepped into the bridal suite, face serious. "They're here," she said softly. The room went silent. My heart didn't race the way it used to. It was almost too calm, like my brain had already accepted this moment weeks ago. "Both?" I asked. She nodded. "Your mother and father. They're at the front gate. They're saying they have every right to enter." My bridesmaid Jenna swore under her breath. Ethan's sister Claire looked at me with fierce concern. "Do you want me to go with you?" she asked. I shook my head. "No," I said quietly. "I'm not going out there." My planner blinked. "Okay," she said, relieved. "Security is handling it." And that was the moment I realized how much I'd changed. Old me would have run outside in my robe to manage the explosion. Old me would have begged them not to make a scene. Old me would have sacrificed my own wedding to protect their pride. New me sat down, smoothed my dress, and said, "Do not bring them to me." My planner nodded. Understood. We could hear faint raised voices in the distance, muffled by the venue walls. Not enough to ruin the day for guests, but enough to confirm they were trying. My mom's voice was unmistakable even through walls, sharp, indignant, theatrical. My dad's deeper voice punching in between. Jenna's eyes widened. "Oh my God," she whispered. "They're actually doing it." I took a slow breath. "Let them," I said quietly. "They're not the main characters today." 10 minutes later, my planner returned. "They're claiming you'll regret this," she said. "Your mother is crying. Your dad is yelling about tradition and respect." I almost smiled. Crying and yelling, their favorite tools. "What did security say?" I asked. "They told them they're not on the list," she replied. "Your mom tried to push past. They stopped her. She threatened to call the police." I nodded. "Let her," I said. "The list is the list." My planner exhaled. "She also demanded to see you," she added. She said, "Tell my daughter to come out here like an adult." I felt a flicker of anger, not because she wanted to see me, but because she still believed she could summon me. "Tell her no," I said calmly. "Tell security if she escalates, call venue management." My bridesmaids stared at me like they didn't recognize me. Jenna whispered, "You're so calm." I looked at her. "I'm not calm," I admitted quietly. "I'm committed." Then my phone buzzed. A new number. Unknown. I didn't answer. Voicemail. Another call. Another voicemail. Then a text. Unknown, it's Mom. Pick up. You're humiliating us. I stared at the screen and felt a cold clarity. Humiliating us. Not I miss you. Not I'm sorry. Not please. Humiliating us. Always the audience. Always the optics. I didn't reply. I blocked the number. A few minutes later, Dad's voice came through on another unknown voicemail. "You're making a huge mistake," he snapped. "People are going to talk about what kind of daughter does this. You think Ethan's family will respect you? You're showing your true colors." I deleted it without listening to the end. Ethan texted me from the groom's suite. "Ethan, they're here. Do you want me to step in?" I typed back, "Me, no. Stay with your guys. I'm okay. We're protected." He replied instantly, "Ethan, I love you." I stared at that sentence for a long moment. Love without conditions. Love without shame. Love without VIP demands. Then my planner came back again, brows knit. "They're not leaving," she said. "Your father is trying to argue with security. Your mother is telling arriving guests that she's the mother of the bride and that you're being controlled by Ethan." My stomach tightened. There it was, the smear. If she couldn't get access, she'd poison perception. "What guests?" I asked. "A few early arrivals," she said. "But security is moving them away and guiding them to the other entrance." I nodded. "Good," I said. "Keep them away from my guests." My maid of honor, Tessa, leaned forward. "Do you want me to say something?" she asked. "No," I said. "No one addresses them. No one feeds it. 'Cause the worst mistake you can make with someone craving attention is giving them a microphone." We continued getting ready. Hair. Makeup. Dress. I made myself stay in the moment. I listened to my bridesmaids talk. I breathed. I sipped water. I looked in the mirror and forced my shoulders down. But the truth is, even in the middle of my wedding prep, my mind kept replaying one question. What happens when they realize they can't get in? The answer came 20 minutes before the ceremony. My planner walked in with a look that told me everything had shifted. "They're leaving," she said. I exhaled. "They left?" I asked, almost disbelieving. She nodded. "But they said something before they left," she added carefully. My stomach tightened. "What?" I asked. She swallowed. "Your mom said loudly, fine. If she wants to marry without her parents, she can explain it to everyone." I stared at her, then nodded slowly. "Okay," I said. "Then I will." Because here was the thing my mother didn't understand. I wasn't afraid of the truth. I'd lived inside it my whole life. The only person who benefited from silence was her. And if someone asked why my parents weren't there, I wasn't going to invent a pretty lie to protect their ugly behavior. Ethan's sister Claire stepped closer and squeezed my hand. "You're not alone," she whispered. My throat tightened. "I know," I said softly. "I finally know." Then the music started. The coordinator opened the door. The garden aisle stretched out in front of me, sunlight, flowers, Ethan waiting at the end with eyes that looked like home. And in that moment, everything else faded. I walked forward not as a daughter begging for approval, but as a woman choosing her future. Choosing a family that didn't demand VIP seats to prove they mattered. Choosing a love that showed up when it counted. But the story still wasn't done. Because my parents didn't just leave quietly. They had one more move left. And they timed it perfectly, right when my reception started, right when everyone was relaxed, right when they knew I wouldn't want chaos. That's when the text came. A photo, a threat, and the question, would I sacrifice my wedding to stop them, or would I let them finally face consequences in front of an audience they cared about so much? The ceremony was beautiful. Not in a Pinterest-perfect way, beautiful in a real way. Ethan's hands trembled when he held mine. His voice cracked on the vows. People laughed at the right moments. My chest felt full, like my body finally understood what safety looks like. For about an hour, I forgot my parents existed, then the reception started. Kind of warm glow you only get when the hard part is over and the room turns into music and clinking glasses and soft chatter. I changed into my reception shoes, took a sip of water, and let myself breathe. Ethan leaned down and whispered, "We did it." I nodded, smiling. We did it. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. A photo message. I opened it and my stomach dropped. It was a screenshot of a social media post, my mother's post, except it wasn't vague this time. It was direct. She posted a photo of me from my engagement announcement, zoomed in on my ring with a caption like a knife. When your daughter chooses a man over her own parents and thinks she can erase us. Remember, blood is blood. Some people are raised without gratitude. Underneath, she tagged my name. Full tag. Public. So anyone who clicked could land on my page. She wanted the audience. She wanted a public trial. The next message came immediately after. Unknown, enjoy your wedding. Everyone will know what you did. My hands went cold. Not because I was scared of being exposed. 'Cause I understood the intent. She was trying to poison my day from outside the building. She couldn't get VIP seats. She couldn't get a microphone. So she tried to get inside my head. I looked up and saw Ethan across the room laughing with his best man. He looked so happy, pure, unguarded. The thought of walking over and dumping this poison into his joy made my throat tighten. Old me would have done it anyway. Old me would have made my parents' chaos everyone's emergency. New me didn't. I turned my phone face down and took a slow breath. Tessa, my maid of honor, noticed immediately. What? She mouthed, eyes sharp. I leaned in and whispered, my mom posted something. Trying to shame me. Tessa's jaw clenched. Do you want me to handle it? She asked, already halfway to battle mode. I shook my head. Not publicly, I whispered. Not tonight. Because my mother's favorite trick was getting me to react. If I reacted, she'd get what she wanted. Proof that she still controlled my emotional weather. And if I reacted publicly, she'd get a bigger stage than the venue ever could have given her. I stood up, smoothed my dress, and walked calmly to our planner. She looked at my face and immediately said, "What happened?" I showed her the screenshot. Her expression hardened. We can report the post, she said. We can also ask someone to monitor your socials and hide tags. I nodded. Yes, I said. And I want one more thing. Name it, she said. I want a single statement prepared, I said quietly. If anyone asks why my parents aren't here, we don't lie. We keep it short and factual. She nodded instantly. Okay, she said. What do you want it to say? I took a breath and spoke the truth in the cleanest way possible. We made the decision to keep the day peaceful. We're focusing on celebrating. Thank you for respecting that. My planner nodded. Done. Then Laura's name flashed on my phone. My sister. I hesitated, then stepped into a side hallway and answered because if Laura was calling, something was happening. Hello? I said, voice low. She's doing it, Laura whispered. Her voice sounded panicked. She's posting. She's calling people. She's telling them Ethan's controlling you. I closed my eyes for a second. Where are you? I asked. At home, she said. I didn't come because, you know. But I'm watching this and it's insane. I swallowed. Laura, I said calm, I'm not going to fight her online. Laura exhaled sharply. She wants you to, she said. She keeps saying if you don't respond, you're guilty. Then let her think that, I replied. I know what happened. There was a pause, and then Laura said something I didn't expect. Dad didn't want to post, she whispered. He told her to stop. She said he was weak. She said she'd make sure everyone knows you abandoned them. I leaned against the wall, feeling that steady clarity again. She's not doing this because she loves me, I said quietly. She's doing this because she lost control. Laura's voice cracked. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't realize how bad it was until now. I closed my eyes, swallowed the lump in my throat. I know, I said softly. But I need you to do one thing for me. Anything, she said. Don't engage her, I said. Don't argue. Don't feed it. Just take screenshots. Save everything. Laura went quiet. Okay, she whispered. I can do that. I hung up, took one more deep breath, and walked back into the reception like I hadn't just been stabbed with a digital knife. Because I wasn't going to let her steal the night through a screen, Ethan found me near the dessert table. You okay? He asked gently, eyes searching. I smiled, real not fake, but I kept it simple. I'm okay, I said. Just family noise. We've got it handled. He nodded, kissed my forehead. Whatever it is, he murmured, I'm here. We danced. We laughed. We ate. I forced my body to stay present. I refused to keep checking my phone. I refused to let my mother live rent-free in the middle of my wedding. Then the DJ tapped the mic. All right, everyone, he said cheerful. We're opening the floor for a couple of surprise toasts. My stomach dropped. Surprise toasts weren't on the schedule. I turned toward our planner instantly. She was already moving. My heart started pounding, not because I was afraid of a toast, but because my mother had tried to contact the DJ before. She'd asked about VIP time, about mic access. What if she'd planted someone? What if she'd recruited my aunt? What if a cousin was about to stand up and deliver a "we're so disappointed" speech in front of Ethan's entire family? Tessa's eyes met mine, and I saw the same thought in her face. This is the ambush. She moved like a hawk. She walked straight to the DJ booth, leaned in, and said something firm. The DJ's smile faltered. He nodded quickly. The mic cut out for a second. Then he said, smooth again, actually, quick update, no surprise toasts tonight. We're sticking to the couple's planned speakers. Relief hit my chest so hard I almost had to sit down. Finn squeezed my hand. Planned speakers, he whispered, brows furrowed. Was that not planned? I shook my head slightly. Someone tried, I murmured. But they can't. Finn's jaw tightened, then he exhaled slowly. Okay, he said. Good. For the next hour, everything stayed calm. People danced. The vibe returned. I started to believe the worst had passed. Then my cousin Marissa approached me. She looked hesitant, like she'd been sent. Her eyes kept flicking toward the bar where older relatives were gathered. Hey, she said softly. Can I ask you something? My chest tightened. I kept my voice gentle. Sure. She swallowed. People are confused, she said. Your mom is telling everyone you banned them because Ethan's family demanded it. She's saying you're embarrassed of your parents. There it was. The smear delivered in person. My mother couldn't get in, so she tried to send the narrative inside through other mouths. I looked at Marissa's face and saw she wasn't trying to hurt me. She was trying to make sense of a story she'd been handed that I didn't defend. I didn't rant. I used the statement we'd prepared. Short. Clean. Calm. Marissa, I said, my parents tried to control the wedding and contacted vendors to change things without permission. We chose peace. That's all. Marissa blinked. They contacted vendors? She whispered. I nodded. Yes, I said simply. That's why. Her eyes widened a little. "Oh," she said, voice small. Then quieter, "That's not okay." I gave a small nod. "No," I said. "It isn't." She hesitated. "Do you want me to tell people?" she asked. I shook my head. "No," I said. "I want tonight to be about my marriage. People can believe what they want." Marissa looked at me like she was seeing me differently, like she expected me to be frantic, and I wasn't. "Okay," she whispered. "Congratulations," she added, and this time it sounded real. When she walked away, I felt something settle in my chest. My mother's power depended on my panic. And I wasn't panicking. Till I knew one final wave was coming. 'Cause my mother never ended a battle without one last attempt to seize the spotlight, and it arrived right before the cake cutting when my planner hurried toward me, phone in hand, face tight. "You need to see this," she whispered. I looked at her screen. My mother had posted again, this time tagging the venue, tagging the photographer's business page, tagging the DJ, writing, "If you're at the wedding, tell my daughter her parents are outside. This is cruel." Outside. My stomach turned. They came back. They'd waited until peak reception, when guests were relaxed, when I was distracted, to try again. The same tactic. Corner me when I wouldn't want a scene. I felt Ethan's hand in mine. I looked up at him, and in his eyes I saw a calm fierceness. He didn't ask me to forgive. He didn't ask me to fix it. He waited for my decision. I took a slow breath and realized the truth. This was the moment my mother had been aiming for. The moment where I'd choose her comfort over my own wedding. The old me would have gone outside. The new me didn't move. I didn't run outside. I didn't even stand up fast. I just looked at my planner's phone, then at Ethan, and felt something click into place. My mother had built her whole strategy around one assumption, that I would do anything to avoid a scene. That I would sacrifice my own moment to protect her image. That I would come outside like a summoned child. I was done being predictable. "Do not let them in," I told my planner calmly. "And don't bring them to me." My planner nodded instantly and walked away with purpose. Tessa was already moving too, slipping through the crowd like a shadow with a mission. Finn squeezed my hand. "You sure?" he asked quietly. I nodded. "I'm sure," I said. "If they want an audience, they don't get it from me." We walked toward the cake table like nothing was happening. Not because nothing was happening, but because I refused to crown it the main event. The DJ started the music for cake cutting, people gathered, phones came out, and for a few minutes the room was pure joy. I laughed. I fed Ethan a bite. He pretended to be offended by the frosting, and everyone cheered. And then, like a bad movie timed to ruin the climax, the doors at the far end of the reception room rattled. Not fully opening, just a sharp movement like someone tugging. A few guests looked over. I felt the ripple of curiosity spread like a wave. My mother wanted that. Public moment. The heads turning. The whispering. The pressure. Finn's sister Claire stepped closer to me, eyes fierce. "Stay here," she whispered. "We've got it." My planner reappeared, breath steady but eyes alert. "Security has them," she said. They tried to push past again. "Your mom is saying she'll tell everyone you abandoned her." I smiled once, small and cold. "She's already telling everyone," I murmured. "So nothing changes." Then my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. I knew it would be a threat, a guilt line, a dramatic declaration designed to make me run. Instead, I handed my phone to Tessa. "Hold this," I said quietly. "If there's anything important, tell me later." Tessa's eyebrows lifted. "You're really not looking?" she asked. "Not tonight," I said. "Tonight I'm marrying Ethan, not arguing with my mother." The reception kept flowing. Toasts from the people we chose. Finn's best man made everyone laugh. My maid of honor made everyone cry. People cheered for us with the kind of warmth that feels like community, not obligation. And then, in the middle of the dance floor, Marissa came back, my cousin, with wide eyes. "Your mom is outside talking to guests as they arrive," she whispered. "She's telling them to go tell you she's here." I nodded slowly. "Okay," I said. "Thank you." Marissa hesitated. "Do you want me to stop her?" she asked. I shook my head. "No," I said calmly. "I want her seen." Marissa blinked. "Seen?" I nodded. "Yes," I said. "Let people witness what she's choosing." Because here's what my mother never understood. She thought I was terrified of the truth. I wasn't. I was tired of the lies. If she wanted to perform outside, let her. The only person who would look bad wasn't me. It was the woman outside a locked venue, trying to hijack her daughter's wedding like a hostage negotiation. 10 minutes later, my planner returned with the kind of expression that means consequences have arrived. "They're leaving," she said quietly. "For real this time." "What happened?" I asked. She took a breath. "Security asked them to stop approaching guests," she said. "Your mother refused." She got loud. "Someone filmed it. A guest's cousin, I think. When they realized they were being recorded, your dad tried to pull her away." She kept yelling. Security warned them one last time. Then they called the police. My stomach tightened, not with guilt, with that strange clarity again. "Police," I repeated softly. My planner nodded. They arrived, spoke to them, and escorted them off the property. I stood very still for a moment. The old me would have felt like I'd committed a crime. The new me understood. This is what happens when adults ignore boundaries and consequences. Ethan's hand tightened around mine. "You okay?" he asked. I exhaled slowly. "I'm okay," I said. "I just never thought my mother would choose this." Ethan's eyes were steady. "She chose it," he said softly. "You didn't." And then, as if the universe wanted to underline the lesson, my planner said one more thing. "The venue manager told me something," she added. "Your mom tried to tell the police she was VIP and had the right to enter." I stared at her. Then, against my will, a laugh escaped me, short, shocked, almost disbelieving. "She told the police she was VIP?" I repeated. My planner nodded, lips pressed. Then shook his head slowly. "Unreal," he muttered. And in that moment, something shifted inside me. Not joy, not revenge. Release. 'Cause the story was finally clear. Not in my head. Not in therapy language. Clear in the real world. Clear enough that even strangers in uniforms could see it. My mother wasn't being hurt. She was trying to control. She wasn't being excluded. She was refusing to respect a boundary. She wasn't being abandoned. She was being held accountable. The rest of the night was ours. We danced. We ate. We laughed until my cheeks hurt. And when the final song played, Ethan pulled me close and whispered, "I'm proud of you." I swallowed hard. "For what?" I asked. Kissed my temple. "For choosing us," he said. "For choosing peace when chaos was trying to pull you back." 2 days later, the fallout arrived. The video of my mother arguing at the gate had circulated among relatives. Not viral, not public news viral, family viral. The kind of viral that destroys the narrative she'd been building for years. Messages came in. Quiet ones. Private ones. A cousin, "I'm sorry. I didn't know." An aunt who'd been on her side. "I saw what happened. That was too much." And then the one message I never expected. A short text from my dad from a new number. "Dad, I didn't want it to go like that." I stared at it for a long time. The old me would have grabbed it like a lifeline. The new me read it carefully and noticed what wasn't there. No apology. No accountability. Just distance from the mess. Typed one sentence back. Me, if you want a relationship, it starts with acknowledging what you both did and respecting boundaries. Then I put the phone down. Because I didn't need to chase him anymore. I didn't need to convince anyone. My marriage had started with truth and protection, not performance. And my mother, who demanded VIP seating so badly, ended up exactly where her behavior belonged, outside, arguing with a gate in front of an audience she couldn't control. The irony is, she wanted to be seen. She just didn't want to be seen like that. She ignored my engagement because my joy didn't feed her ego. But she demanded VIP seating at my wedding because my spotlight did. And in the end, the only VIP moment she got was the one she earned through her own choices, a public escort off the property. My parents wanted a throne at my wedding. They got a consequence. I got a husband who chose me quietly, consistently, and without conditions. And that was the only VIP I ever needed.